go. Oh, there you are. Hey, kia ora, Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic, sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1536. Get to cross another one off. What legacy are you leaving? This morning I woke to the news that a very dear friend of mine had passed away, and she was all about leaving a legacy and working on her legacy and things. And so I thought tonight we would honor her and talk about legacy. What is a legacy? And there's different ways that you can leave a legacy behind. A legacy is something that you leave behind for future generations, not just your immediate, children, nieces, nephews, depending on your situation, but grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and so forth down the line. What is your legacy that you leave? Now, legacy can take different forms, and you can leave multiple legacies behind. So let's just take a look at some of them. And being the genealogist that I am, genealogy and family history is right there at the top. It's documenting your family's history and genealogy that future generations can connect with you and their roots. There was one of the guests that we had on, Francesca, and she talked about how we are our future generations and we are the ancestors of our future generations. And when you think about researching genealogy and family history, we're researching our ancestors. In years to come down the road, you're going to have your future generations are going to be researching you as their ancestor. So what are you leaving behind that can help them in their research? That can, what stories are you leaving behind? What in the form of a family tree? Do you have your family tree done? This is one thing that I am working diligently on, and I've got this massive tree going. Not as massive as some that I have heard about. I heard about one last week that had 27,000 people in it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm only somewhere around 8,000 to 9,000 people in mine. So that's one way that you can leave, is leaving your genealogy and family history behind so that future generations can add to it. Other ones that you can leave behind are your memories and stories. Sharing personal anecdotes, stories, and experiences with loved ones can be a cherished legacy. But it's not just telling those stories orally, it's also writing those stories down. And I was talking with a friend of mine yesterday, and she was talking about going to a family reunion going to a family reunion in a week or two. And I said to her, make sure that I said, when you guys are all sitting down and sharing the memories and stuff, I said, just record them. And she was like, oh. And I said, then you can come home and you can either, there's plenty of programs that will do tech that you can actually talk the stories into your phone or talk the stories onto your computer, and it will convert the talk to text. And so she said, that's a great idea. I said, there's plenty of really good apps that you can get on your phone for recording stories and things like that. And I said, and the cool part is you just you set the recorder going, you just put it in the middle of the table and capture everybody as they're talking, or have, video going and things like that. And she thought it was such a great idea. And I said, then you can come home. I said, you can actually find people that will do the transcriptions for you. There are programs out there that will do the transcriptions for you, but it's a way of capturing. And then you've got it digitally, verbally, and then you can also type it up. And I said, when you type those stories up, you now have a book that you can put together and give to family members for Christmas or some other holiday, that they can look back at those stories and remember those times and things. So make sure that, if you're getting together with family, be it at a funeral, at a wedding, any family occasion is, a family reunion, birthdays, milestone birthdays, you're getting together for a family vacation, take time to record the stories of the memories as they are told. That way you will have them for future generations. They get to hear the stories about the people that they are researching in their family tree. They get to hear these stories firsthand from people who experienced these things. Talk about moments in history that you were alive for. This year I sat down and wrote out my thoughts and feelings as I was watching the coronation of King Charles III. That was something that I knew that I would probably see a coronation within my lifetime. Will I see 2 coronations? I don't know. But I wrote this about hearing the news of Queen Elizabeth's passing, where I was, what I was feeling at the time. And then later on, watching some of the protocols and everything that the king had. The king's grieving. his mother's just passed away, and he's having to do all these official functions and stuff because he's now the king, and basically his grieving has to be pushed to the side while he does all of these handovers and changeovers and everything else. And I thought, jeepers, doesn't the guy get like, just a day to himself to grieve? Nope, they had him starting doing stuff immediately. Kind of felt sorry for him in a way. But then watching his coronation a few months later, and that was actually quite a cool thing. So writing my experiences about that down so that future generations can look back and see my personal thoughts and feelings of the coronation as it was happening. So I was watching it live. So I was writing things as I was happening. And then I did actually go back and watch a recording of it to fill in some of the blanks because things were happening, with everything that was going on and all of that sort of stuff. And I was trying to write some of the history that that I'd heard about and things like this, but I had to go back later and put those bits in. Another way that you can leave a legacy is your values and principles. Passing down your core values and ethical principles can guide future generations. In my family, on both sides, there is a huge core value of service. On my dad's side, there's a lot of military service. On my mum's side, there's a lot of community service. So I've got service coming at me from both sides. I also have very good storytellers on both sides, more on my dad's side of the family than my mum's side, but both sides have storytelling capabilities in there as well. And their values have been passed down from generation to generation to generation. When I'm uncovering some of these stories and things, there are some chains that got broken during the time with things that had happened, and people decided that they weren't going to live that way. They were going to change the way things were. So there was that side of it as well, but it's all part of what's been passed down from generation to generation. And this can be even things with religious beliefs can be passed down from generation to generation as well. If you are, and like we've got on one side of the family, we've got a lot of farming in there. Yes, there was a lot of military service and some of those people that were in the farms and that went to military service, but we also have farming in there as well that has been going on for generations, that started in England and was brought across to New Zealand. So that was pretty cool. Financial security, providing financial stability with savings and investments or inheritance that can greatly benefit your family. Some people think that some people think that this is the legacy. And legacies can be so many different things. And I've got a list here of different legacies we came up with. But financial security is, for some people, is a big thing. What legacy have you built that you're going to leave behind in a financial way? Is it owning several apartment buildings or rental properties that are in a trust that are going to get passed down to future generations? Is it in investments and savings and things that you're going to be spreading out? And there's a lot of stuff out there on different, like you read some of the books, some of the stories on some of the big families that have, these rich billionaires and stuff that have passed things down to future generations. And I always think of the movie, The Ultimate Gift, and how, even though it's a fictional story, it can be applied to real life. There are steps in there that can be applied to real life. So it's a fictional story that was written about this guy who passed away, and his family was very greedy. And they basically, as they read the will, when your part had been read, you're out of the room. You don't get to hear what anybody else gets that comes after you. And finally, there's just this one young man left behind, and he's like early 20s. And I'm trying to remember, in the book, he was either a great grandson or he was a great nephew. I can't remember. The movie did the opposite of what was in the book. And he had these 12 tasks that were given to each month. He was given a different task. He had 30 days to go out, do that lesson, and then come back. And if he satisfied the lawyers, then he got given the next lesson to go through. And by the end of 12 months, he'd undergone this transformation, and he ended up with the ultimate gift. And if you want to know what that is, you'll have to watch the movie. But it was a way of preparing him for what was coming to him if he completed all 12 tasks over the next 12 months. Education. Supporting educational opportunities, such as setting up a scholarship fund, can empower others to achieve their dreams. I know of many people that you read about where somebody has passed from extenuating circumstances, and as a living legacy, they have set up a scholarship fund in that person's name. There is so much out there when it comes to scholarships and things that is just unbelievable, the amount of money that gets left on the table every year when people are putting these scholarship funds out there, and people aren't taking advantage of them. But that can be one way to do a legacy. Philanthropy is another way, establishing a tradition of charitable giving or getting involved in community service that can leave a positive impact. Through your legacy, if you've got the finances to do it, you can still have the trust pay out to those charities every year, give a donation to that charity every single year, even after you've gone. So there's those ways that you can do that as well. Getting involved in community service that can leave a positive impact. It could be donating the funds to build a wing in a hospital, or build a new library, or build a building of an establishment of some sort. It could be a medical center or something that is needed in the community, and you could be the sponsor behind that. Creativity and art. There are things that I absolutely love. If my grandmother had made, I actually have a tapestry that was done by my great-grandfather that I absolutely love. It's this knight on a horse. I don't have it hanging up anywhere because it does need to be reframed. It sat in a frame in my grandparents' dining room over the dining table for years. And that was one thing that was given to me. They took it out of the frame and folded it up and sent it to me because there was no way they were going to send it in a frame, and I wouldn't have wanted them to either. But it's a piece of my family history that I have, that my great-grandfather did this tapestry of this knight on a horse with his joust, because it was the jousting thing that so he had the big, long, jousty thing. I also have some macrame necklaces that my grandfather made. He taught himself how to do macrame, and he made these different necklaces. He made plant hangers and things like that. So things that that somebody in your family has made and has been passed down. Those that do quilting, oh my gosh, quilting! I love these people who can create these quilts. The patience that they have to do it is just amazing, and the artwork that they do on these beautiful quilts is incredible. And these are quilts that can be passed down from generation to generation. And to know that you are wearing a sweater that your grandmother made for you, that has now been passed down to your children, are now wearing it, or it could be a blanket that has been made, a quilt that has been sewn, things that have been passed down. It could be they have hand crocheted some doilies, different things like that, or things that they have embroidered onto like handkerchiefs or pillowcases and things like that. And those have been passed down through the generations. Those sort of things just, the creativity and the art bring me joy, especially if I know who did the work, and I know the work that went into those things. Like my grandfather, the macrame necklaces, I will always treasure those because I know that he made them, and they came from an act of love, that he made them and gave them to me. So that's just a really cool thing as well. A business or entrepreneurial ventures. You may have a successful family business that gets passed down from generation to generation to generation. You see all these mom and pop stores that were started, 30, 40, 50 years ago, and they're being passed down to the next generation. And now the grandparents were the ones that started it. Now the kids are getting ready to take over. Not their children, their grandkids are getting ready to take over the family business. So it could be something like that. And you hear about these businesses that have, this was started by my great-great-great-grandfather way back then, and now I'm getting to take it over, and blah, 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 all this sort of stuff. So that could be a business or an entrepreneurial venture that gets done. Mentorship and guidance, offering guidance and mentorship and advice to younger family members or friends so that can help shape their lives. If you are a successful business entrepreneur and you've got people in your family who want to become a business entrepreneur as well, why not share your knowledge with them, mentor them, guide them? There are programs that I absolutely love, and it's where, and I don't know if there are any here in the States. I do know that they're in the place like the UK, New Zealand, Australia, and Europe, where they bring kids in daycare to be around seniors. the senior citizens, and they bring them together and they learn from each other. And they have programs where they take school-age children and they come up through to teenagers and things, and they come and they sit with the senior citizens and they talk with them and things like that. And these seniors are passing on knowledge from their childhood and things that they have learned over the years to help guide these children through their lives. They have kindergarten and preschool kids that come in, and the senior citizens will sit and read to these children, which I think is a fantastic, an incredible program. And the reason I think it's such an incredible program is that these people that are in retirement villages and things, a lot of them are just sitting around. Yes, they've got activities and stuff, but when they come alive is when there are younger generations in there and they're interacting with the younger generations. It makes them feel young again. It makes them feel needed when they can come in and these children come in and they sit there and tell them stories. They're either reading to a book or they're telling them a story from their childhood, things like that, where they get to help kids with homework or give them advice on life. You're getting bullied. How was it when you were getting bullied as a kid? I was bullied as a kid, so this is what I did, and things like that. How do you deal with things like that? How do you deal with a broken heart? Going through your first love and everything else. So there's a lot of knowledge that is in senior citizens, and I love the fact that there are these programs out there. I don't know if they're in the US. I just know that they're in other places in the world where they take these senior citizens and they bring them together with preschool, kindergarten, school-age children, even teenagers, where they bring them together for different things. And especially with the teenagers, it goes towards their community service parts of school that they have to do, which I think is absolutely wonderful. When I was in high school, our community service thing is that every year we would put on a concert we call them the Age Concern, and that was the local senior citizen center. And we would go down there every year and we would put on a variety act. There was singing, there was dancing, there was people playing musical instruments. We had tap dancers in there. We even had somebody doing a solo ballet dance. I did part of a song I did a song to a dance to the last verse of Rainbow Connection. It actually got written up in the newspaper that said I did a can type cartwheel and full splits, but more graceful and not as boisterous as the French variety. I still have that newspaper article. But things like that you can do. And then afterwards we got to interact with the people that were there at the Senior Citizens Centre, and we had a blast with them. I remember as a girl guide and as a Brownie and Girl Guides going and visiting some of the retirement homes and things, and interacting with the seniors there. And I will tell you this: I was brought up to respect my elders and to sit and listen to them. I have heard many amazing stories of amazing lives from just sitting and listening and asking questions, asking for clarification on things, and had an absolute blast doing it. So take those opportunities to learn from your elders, respect them, listen to them, ask them questions. They will be more than happy to impart their knowledge to younger generations. And I think that there are times that the older generation feel like they're a little forgotten, and that they've lived all these years, they've been through lots of different adversities and stuff and challenges through life, and they've got all this knowledge that they've learned, but nobody to pass it on to. So maybe one of your things could be that you get involved in community service by going and visiting people who are in assisted living homes, or even just in retirement homes and stuff, and just sitting there and listening to them. They would love to talk, have a conversation with people. And then the last one that's on my list for legacy is love and relationships. Building and nurturing strong, loving relationships with your family can be a lasting legacy of love and support. I'm constantly talking about my grandparents on both sides of my family because we had such a great relationship with them. I have a great relationship with my parents, with my brothers as well. One a little more than the other one. There's one I get to and I really honestly don't know how to talk to him at times, but I do remember the fun that we had. We were very close growing up, and I do remember the fun that we had growing up and things like that. Circumstances have caused us to drift apart, and I would love to get that reconnection with him again. I have a great relationship with my cousins because on one side of the family, because we because they were always in one area, and when we went and visited that area, everybody came over to my grandparents' place, and we all hung out together and got to play together, and we stayed with aunts and uncles and got to meet the cousins that way, and did sleepovers and all that sort of fun stuff. So building that strong family relationship can be a lasting legacy of love and support too. Because I always, whenever I think of my cousins, I'm always thinking of my grandparents as well. And so that is just some of the things that you can do. There was a list of 10. If you didn't, there was genealogy and family history, memories and stories, values and principles, financial security, education, philanthropy, creativity and art, business or entrepreneurial ventures, mentorship and guidance, and love and relationships. Those are some of the things that you can do to help you leave a legacy. And you can leave more than one. It's not just the one legacy that you're going to be leaving behind. It is going to be more than one. But take time to write out your story. Your story would be a great legacy to leave behind for future generations. I came across it the other day, and it's not within reach, a story that my great-grandmother wrote. And although it's not her name on the story as the author, but there are rumors in the family that it was based on her life. And I know some parts of it are, because when I come across, I'm sort of like, yeah, that sounds familiar. That sounds like stuff I've been told over the years. So write your story. It's a great way to leave a legacy behind, because not only are you writing your story, you can write about all the adversity that you have faced in your life, how you've overcome it, how it has changed you, what you learned from it. And through leaving those lessons behind, it can help future generations. So that's it from me for today. And my only thing I'm going to ask is, what legacy are you leaving for those following behind you? Remember, as Francesca says, we are the ancestors of our future generation. Have a super fantastic, sparkling evening, and we'll catch you back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Hei konara.